What's good, y'all? How y'all doing? I'm telling you, y'all are glazing me up so hard on the shaving thing. Ari's gonna be mad. I don't think she's a huge fan. But then I'm gonna end up keeping it just because y'all love it so much. I'm gonna end up keeping it just because of that. Guys, you're gonna get me in trouble. Trouble, trouble, trouble. Wearing a tank top. Well, first of all, it is too cold. Well, it actually wasn't. I actually left the gym and I was like, it's kind of warm out. But it was still like I think it was like 64 or something. No, it was 59 feels like 64. That's what it was. It was 59 feels like 64. It's 11 there, like in Fahrenheit. Gross. No, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. 64. Fuck off. I woke up to 19-degree weather today. When I woke up, it snowed. It snowed here yesterday. It snowed yesterday. But like it was real light. It was during the middle of the night. It was but yeah, I mean there's videos. You can see it. It snowed out here yesterday. So it was in like the high 20s or something. But yeah, Panda's like it's 71 or in SoCal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm in the Panhandle. So yeah, it snowed out here. A little bit. I slept right through it. So I don't. Yeah, I slept straight through it. I didn't even pretend like I was gonna try to get up for it. We got like I think we got 6 inches of snow last year, and that was too much. We're expecting 8 to 10 inches in southern Tennessee this weekend. See, that's too much. It's supposed to be negative 18 as a high this weekend in North Dakota. As a high. Negative 18 as a high, you should just move. Like, just being honest. Like, if it's negative 18 as a high, just move. Just drive south. Do like the birds do. And just drive south. It should never be negative. It should never be a high. You should never be any place where it's a high of a negative. I'm gonna hold to that. Okay. Like I've been in negative, like, you know, I've lived in places where it's, you know, it gets in the negatives, negative 10, negative 12, negative 15. I've been in those places, but not as a high. Like, that's just crazy. You talk to someone in Minnesota, their high on Friday is negative 12. No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Well, I'm in Florida. So how my SoCal people doing? You guys are you guys cool enough right now? I know it's kind of warm, so like I just want to make sure you guys run your air conditioner. Okay. Make sure you guys keep that air conditioner on in Florida and Cali. All right. So we don't need to, we don't need to be concerned with all this cold talk. Yeah. That's why someone was like, "Oh, you should do a meet and greet in like the north." I'm like, in the summer, maybe. I ain't going up to I ain't doing meet and greets in the fucking winter in fucking Wisconsin. You must be crazy. You must be out of your whole mind. No, I'm looking at houses like I'm wondering what Venezuela is gonna look like, dude, because I'm trying to freaking get near the equator. You know what I'm saying? Like is it gonna be a completely collapsed petro state? Because then like how is the housing prices looking? I can pick up Spanish. Learn how to pronounce Wisconsin first? I just did. It's Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Paul's gonna be wearing a sweater in July. You're damn right. Now, I'm not that bad. Like I said, I've lived in cold places, so I can survive. I'd have a lot of I'd have a lot of um how do you say? Like I need a little acclimation time and to get a bunch of clothes out of the attic. But I'd survive. Neuro Spicy, thanks for lighting up those gifts. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Neuro Spicy is lighting up the gift gallery over there. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. Hand hearts lit up too. Thank you so much. All right, I'm seeing people asking for phone lines to be opened up. We'll get right to that. Just 1 second, and we'll get to talking to some people. I got to do some setup and all that sort of stuff as per usual. Do a little setup and stuff as per usual. I will say, like I said, you guys are talking about the cold. I had to go to the store before live, and I did have to put on a light hoodie. Okay, so it's not all just fun and games out here. All right. I did have to put on a light hoodie. So I don't believe in jackets like you don't believe they exist. Can we get W's in the chat for Neuro Spicy? Lit up the donuts, lit up the hand hearts, lit up the fingers, lit up the roses. Big W's in the chat. Hey, it was a light hoodie, okay? I hope Greenland buys America. Then we can get some then we can actually universal health care. That'd be great. I'll get these started, but it is funny how Trump was like, just because a boat landed there a couple hundred years ago doesn't make it Denmark's. It's like, well, sir, I would like to inform you on how the United States got started. I would love to inform you on how the United States became a country. Okay. Just to let you know. Guys, 1 second. I'll be right back. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Had to go check on something real quick. Are we good now? All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Please make sure you all hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you're new here. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. If you'd like to support the live, I do have Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. They're all at Polypolitics, just like my name. I also have super chats, super stickers, all that fun stuff. So you'd like to support, I really appreciate that. I also have my little live gift goal here, and of course, lighting up the gift gallery is always helpful. Take a page, out of Neurospicy's book, and help that up. I mean, thanks to Neurospicy, we're already halfway through the gift gallery light up, so we're doing great over here. I know, guys. I know. I shaved my face, and now I am like 22 years old. I get it. I was trying to cover it. All right. Thank you, Duke. I appreciate that. I was trying to cover it. I was gonna throw y'all real off. I was gonna shave and then wear contacts, and just completely screw you guys up. But anyways, y'all, phone lines are open whenever any Trump supporters want to start coming in. The beard will be back, random. The beard will be back. Don't worry. Okay, it's not gone forever. It will be back. I promise. I would have unfollowed out of shock. Jesus. just Who is this weird person? Hello, how are you?
Hello. Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. How old are you?
35.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Of course.
Why is that?
So we're 1 year in, and it wasn't completely perfect. I can't give him an A+, but overall,
or a B
I think that,
or a C+, or a D-, or even like a strong F. Yeah, you can't even really give him like a strong F.
I'd probably give him around an A-. I give him like an A-.
And what could, sir, you do realize in order to get an A- as a president, you actually have to do something worth that, right?
So there's this weird doublespeak I've noticed. So on one hand, Trump is this authoritarian dictator who's doing all of this bad stuff. And then on the other hand, this idea that he's done nothing.
I didn't say he's done nothing, sir. I said he's done nothing to earn it. I said, in order to get an A-, you have to do something to make it worth it, right? You have to do something to earn it. Yeah. I didn't say just he's done nothing. He's done all sorts of shitty things. Yeah.
I think he's done a lot of really good things. I think that his assault on DEI is commendable. I think that he's done a lot to secure the border.
What is DEI?
I support the deportation efforts.
What's DEI?
Stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And what is it?
Specifically, what I'm referring to was that he repealed Executive Order 11246.
Mm-hmm.
This is an executive order from the 1960s that legalized discrimination against white people and men for government contracting. So
no, it did not.
Obvious. It did.
You're literally talking about the repeal of fucking what? The Civil Rights Act?
No, I'm talking about Executive Order 11246.
Yeah, and what's the name of that executive order?
I believe it had, I forget what the name of it was, but it's where we get the language of affirmative action.
Oh, it was the affirmative action one. Yeah, that's not discrimination, sir. Sorry.
I mean, if you're giving preference to certain candidates or contract, wouldn't it?
Well, you broke up, sir.
If you're treating people differently based on their protected characteristics, their race or their sex, that would be the textbook definition of discrimination.
And why was that executive order written?
I'm sure that they had their reasons for rectifying historical discrimination.
No, there was a current time thing that was happening, a current thing that's still happening to this day. And what is it?
I'm sure that what your side would argue is that there's...
No, we're not talking about my side. You don't know what side I'm on. What was the reason for it?
I mean, I'm giving you the stated reason.
No, you're going to give... How about you give me the reason? No, you see, you could have just given me the reason, but you're like, your side is... You don't know what side I'm on, sir. You don't know what I believe. So just say, what was the reason for it?
To be fair, I've watched your streams before. I have some idea
and you learned nothing, obviously. So
Right. So I think that the idea was that they would correct past discrimination with current discrimination.
incorrect.
So because so educate me. What do you
Yeah,
think was
I
the
will,
reason?
because that we saw that government agencies, that colleges, that, and when we were talking about affirmative action, that was primarily a college thing, but it wasn't
No, it
hiring thing.
wasn't.
Yes, it was. So again, sir,
So
you
the
wanted to be
executive
educated,
order
sir.
that I
You wanted,
named
sir, you wanted to
had
be
nothing to do
educated,
with
and now
the
you're not being
colleges.
quiet long enough to freaking be educated.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, appreciate you. So what we saw is that preferential treatment was given to white men. All right, across the entire spectrum. And again, when you're talking about past things, we're not talking about past things, right? We see freaking studies that are even currently done right now that show that two people with exactly the same qualifications that apply for the exact same job, if there is a name that is considered a black name in parentheses, right, that person is much less likely to get a call back, much less likely to get an interview, and much less likely to get the job, just off the presumption of their name and their race attached to that name, right? So what you're saying, sir, is that I don't want any policy that restricts white men from taking all the jobs, even if they don't deserve them.
I mean, you're saying that they don't deserve them, and you're saying that they're getting all of this preferential treatment based off of race. But the way that we've structured civil rights law in the United States is that if employers hire too many white people, even on accident, right, they are exposing themselves to liability, which creates a preference for DEI candidates.
Cool. And what law is that?
I mean, there's a bunch of different laws, but we could talk about Title VII. That's probably the main one.
Sure. And how does Title VII allow for that type of punishment?
So there are two different theories of liability under Title VII.
Mm-hmm.
Disparate treatment, which is your more traditional form of discrimination, refusing to hire or promote someone because of their race or sex. But then there's also
what part of Title?
impact.
Oh, yeah. So hold on. Now you're switching subjects. You're moving the goalposts.
How so?
You said if somebody accidentally hires too many white people, that they can be
Right.
they can be liable for that. And now you're describing law that just says if you're specifically not promoting someone because of their race, they can be found liable.
Right.
That's
So
not what they said.
just
Nothing that you're describing is disparate treatment. So I'm asking for the law that states what you're saying. In Title VII, neither of the clauses under Title VII that you just named do that.
Right. So if you would have let me finish, so that's disparate treatment, but there's also disparate impact.
But disparate
right?
treatment isn't under that.
So disparate impact is litigated under Title VII, right? And what disparate impact is different is that disparate impact does not require that you even point to some sort of racist act. It doesn't matter the intention of the employers, that if they are, having a pattern or practice that even accidentally results in too many white people being hired, that company is exposing itself.
Give me an
to
example of
litigation.
that being freaking implemented in our legal system.
So, for example, if an employer was to
Don't give me an example.
With,
if an employer would, at some point in time, give me an example of a company just accidentally hiring too many white people, and and then being found liable and held, legally liable for, in court on that.
Yeah. So you asked me for an example, and I started to.
No, I need the name of the company, sir. You said, say a company does. No, I don't want say a company does. Tell me X company was sued on this, by whoever, and this is why they were found liable underneath it.
I mean, you can look up any disparate impact case. We can start with the case that created the legal precedent, because this was originally a judicially created doctrine. It was later codified into law in the 1992 Civil Rights Act. But the Supreme Court case was Griggs v. Duke's Power Company. And in that case, the employer required that candidates had a high school education, right? But that excluded a lot of black people. And so they pointed to the disparate impact, right, and said that even though there's no racist act here, the fact that it's, resulting in either
Greg versus
how you
what?
want to look at it, too many white people or too
Greg
few black
versus what?
people. Griggs v. versus Duke Power Company.
Sure.
Are you familiar with disparate impact? Had you ever heard of that before?
Of course I have, sir. That's why I know you're misusing it. And
so
I already
understanding
stated why you were, so I don't know why you're confused on that.
So can you explain it again?
No, I'm looking at the case now.
Because
We've
earlier
moved
what
on
you said
past
was
that.
no, because what you said earlier was incorrect, that it doesn't require, that you were describing disparate treatment.
I moved on to the case. We can go back to that later if you want, but I don't like jumping back and forth, okay? It sounds like you don't want me to look up this case at all. All right, and
No,
that's
I'm
what it
happy for
sounds
you to
like.
look up the case.
Okay, then why don't you
I
let
just
me
want
do
to
it?
understand. Well, I'm just trying to gauge whether or not you have any idea of what you're talking about, or if this is brand new information for you.
Sir, if you can't make someone tell throughout your conversation whether this is brand new information for me or if I freaking have known it for a long time, then you're not doing a very good job of arguing. I don't know anything about this case, which is why I'm looking it up. Okay, but I can already see just on a simple fucking Google search, which doesn't even take me 2 seconds to look up, that what you're saying is completely inaccurate.
Which part?
Yeah, sure. So Graves v. Dude Park refers to a landmark 1971 U.S. Supreme Court case establishing that employment practices with discriminatory effect, disparate impact, violate the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, even without intent or discriminate if they aren't job related. Prohibiting requirements like high school diplomas or aptitude tests that disproportionately hurt minorities without proving job necessity. It sets a precedent for proving discrimination throughout outcomes, not just intent, by striking down Duke's power criteria that barred black employees from higher paying jobs despite their ability to work.
Right, so how is that different from what I said?
Because they created the thing for high school diplomas specifically to bar black people, even though the job itself did not require a high school diploma at all or any type of aptitude test, right? The job itself did not require those educational levels. Those educational levels were only put in specifically for the reason to discriminate.
So that was also argued in this case, but that was under a theory of disparate treatment. Right, so in disparate treatment, what you can say, so the defendant can offer a legitimate, non-discriminatory reason
for
what they're doing.
Yeah. Now that you're completely dishonest, hold on, sir. Now that you're already completely dishonest, what does this have to do with DEI and Donald Trump?
Well, okay. So then going back to this, so Executive Order 11246 created a similar regime for all government contractors that they would have to submit all of their employment statistics to the Secretary of Labor, and if they were found to be non-compliant, they would lose all of their contracts. Right. So this creates a preference for DEI candidates, which means that at every step of the process, right, if they can get a DEI candidate, they will, right, because it's less exposure for the company. And so, and these, and that exists at every step of the educational and professional process.
So what enforcement level did this executive order have?
11246?
Yeah.
So if the Secretary of Labor found the company to be non-compliant, they would lose their government contract.
Non-compliant on what?
Whether or not they were taking sufficient affirmative acts to hire enough.
So are we talking about affirmative action or DEI hires? Because you just confused the two.
So I use these terms somewhat interchangeably.
Well, you shouldn't, because they are different things.
Well, DEI is a larger term. It's an umbrella term.
It's not even close to the same term. It's not even in the ballpark of the same term.
Of course it is.
It's not. What did affirmative action do, sir?
So affirmative action means that it's not enough to just not commit overt acts of racism.
Incorrect.
That you have to take affirmative acts.
You're already wrong.
So the executive order that I cited to you, that's the genesis of the term affirmative action. It comes from the executive order that I already.
We're not arguing that, sir. My argument was, what is affirmative action, and how are you saying it's the same as DEI?
So affirmative action tries to promote diversity, which is the D in DEI, by having employers take affirmative acts to counteract what they refer to as historic racism.
Which was proven to be happening. So let's pretend like it wasn't happening. But what's DEI?
I mean, it's a whole host of things. It could extend to recruitment efforts. It also refers to like programming that employees have to take, like HR training.
Very correct.
It refers to it's a whole host of policies.
Yeah, and you're 100% correct on that, sir.
Equity,
you're right. HR policies, 100% right. You nailed it. Right. It is an HR policy. Right. Is there training? Absolutely. Is there recruitment programs? Absolutely. But you know what it doesn't do, sir?
What does it not do?
It doesn't hire anyone, right? And it specifically doesn't hire anyone that's not already completely qualified for the job. And where affirmative action did, right? Affirmative action was specifically placing a certain amount of numbers, right? There will be 10 XYZ, there will be 20 XYZ, or whatever the number was. And that amount of number had to be set, right, for whatever job. It actually, again, was mostly used in schools over the length of time. But it was a set of numbers that had to be fulfilled by the certain, groups within those programs, right? Where DEI isn't even a hiring practice whatsoever. Yes. And where DEI isn't even a hiring practice, so it never does that. It never sets limits. It never sets numbers. It never requires a hiring. And it sure as hell doesn't put anyone in a place that is not fully qualified to do so. That's why you understand the difference between DEI and affirmative action is very important to this conversation. See, what you're trying to do, sir, is you're saying, I appreciate that Donald Trump is going after DEI. And then instead of describing DEI, you're describing affirmative action. And affirmative action was freaking, was overturned by the Supreme Court, where back in what 2019 or something like that, right? Where pretty much affirmative action was pretty much wiped out
So in
by the Supreme.
2023,
Hold on, sir. I'm almost
So
finished.
in-
You can get there in a second. Okay. So this is where we're getting to the problem. Okay, of your whole thing is that you're saying Donald Trump is going after DEI, which he is. Very correct. He's going after. What he's actually doing. He's going after things like affirmative action. He's going after things like the Civil Rights Act. He's going after things like the Voting Act. Right. He's going after all these things under the guise of DEI when that's actually not what DEI is. Right. And then people like you like to come up and try to connect a little dot or try to do whatever little Rubik's Cube or pretzel you want to do in order to try to make it seem that DEI is all of these other things when it's not. And just because Donald Trump calls these things DEI doesn't actually make them DEI. But let's get back to something more important. Why is that
Hold on,
good?
can I respond to some of the stuff that you just said?
If you can do it expeditiously and promptly, sure, why not?
Right. Yeah, and then we can move on. So in 2023, the Supreme Court case that you're referring to, Students for Fair Admission, that rolled back affirmative action only in the very narrow context of undergraduate admissions to colleges. Right. So affirmative action still exists all throughout corporate America, throughout the media, throughout Hollywood. Did you read the
And are any of those companies required to have affirmative action, or are they choosing to do so on their own?
Well, there's legal incentives in place.
Are these companies forced to, under law, under this executive order that you said, right? Are they forced to have affirmative action policies, or do we live in a capitalistic society where companies are allowed to decide the numbers of their people if they choose to do so, right? And they are allowed to do that as long as they're beholden to their shareholders. Is this a law that is required that's coming from the executive, or is this just something that companies are doing?
I mean, there's a lot of different forces at play, but I would say that there is a legal obligation to be compliant.
Well, that'd be a lie.
Law,
that would be a bold-faced lie. That would be a bold-faced lie, sir.
Themselves to liability.
That would be a bold-faced lie, sir. That would be a bold-faced lie, okay? Because not only was this executive order that you were talking about back in the 60s, right, that pretty much put up a thing of affirmative action not law, right? And therefore, since it's not law, you cannot be criminally punished under a law that's not a law, right? Because it's just an executive order. But second of all, these companies are allowed to do it because they know that it's a good thing to do that, or because they believe people like that it's a thing that they're doing. But regardless of any of that, sir, if private companies are doing that, that is on the private companies to choose to do that, right? And what Donald Trump is doing is just saying, "Oh, it's DEI, I hate it," and then causing a huge commotion about it to get people all riled up, when really at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of white people mad that they're not above everyone else anymore, and equality feels like oppression when you're used to being on top.
Well, I think that what you're doing right now is that, and I understand why you would make this argument, but policies like DEI and affirmative action function to discriminate against people like me in favor of people like you.
What
right?
policy?
So it's unsurprising.
No, sir, I'm not worried about it, sir. First of all, I'm light skinned. Second of all, I'm intelligent. I'm not worried about me, sir. Me is not the problem. Okay? And I, unlike you, sir, don't simply just advocate for things based off the color of my skin like you've been doing the entire time on this live, right? I advocate for things that are better for the good of all people, right? And when you look at the good of all people, when people are truly based off of fucking merit, then what you see is actual natural diversity. Within the workforce, if we were seeing, right, like people truly being hired, people getting into colleges, people doing any of these things, right, based solely on merit, you would see a natural diversity, because you wouldn't see like 98% of airline pilots, right, that were white males, or whatever. I think it's 95, 97, something like that. I don't remember the exact number, right? But you would see a natural diversity in that, because being white does not give you any type of qualifier in becoming a pilot in the United States. So they would naturally diversify themselves, but they aren't naturally diversifying themselves. And the reason for that, right, is because, well, sociologically, people tend to hire people that look like them. And that's a whole thing, right? But understanding that we need this diversity because it actually creates better candidates, it creates a better workforce, and it creates better jobs is better. I don't want to take over, like you want to do, and freaking create something where, companies were only hiring black people, or only hiring mixed race people, or only hiring men just because it positively affects me, right? I want what's best for everybody, and you just want what's best for you and people that look like you.
No, I think it's perfectly natural to oppose discrimination against you on the basis of your race or sex. I think that when other groups point out instances where this happens, we rightly condemn it. But you seem to be okay with it when
Like
it only
when?
applies to certain groups.
Hold on. You rightly condemn it?
Yeah, and most people support the idea that Title VII should apply to overt acts of discrimination.
No, sir.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Where in this conversation have you rightfully defended fucking, diversity?
Well, I was just explaining it, right? So it's like I distinguish at the beginning between disparate treatment and disparate impact. And I think that there is a convincing case that like no individual should suffer the indignity of being discriminated against on the basis of their race or sex. And now all of this institutional incentives incentivize employers to discriminate against white men.
Gotcha. So nobody should do it, right? Nobody should feel that discrimination. But if we put in programs that help to stop that discrimination, you're against it. You see how, remember when you were talking about, you started this conversation, started talking about doublespeak? You tried to do it, but you weren't listening to what I said. So then I explained it, and then it wasn't doublespeak. Okay. So let me remind you, okay, but at the beginning of this conversation, like, 20 minutes ago or whenever we started it, right? You wanted to talk about doublespeak, right? This is the actual definition of doublespeak, where you are saying, hey, nobody should be discriminated against based off their race, based off their gender, based off their, you didn't say it, but I'll go and say things like religion, sexual identity, and all sorts of stuff. But then when we see those exact things happening in the United States, and there's policy to help prevent that from happening or to help mitigate that situation from happening, you're against that policy.
Well, because I perceive those policies as being themselves discriminatory, but I think that we've kind of gone around that, argument a little bit, so we can move on to the next topic.
No, I'm right here and perfectly fine right here in this argument, sir. Because you're saying, what you're saying, sir, and just to be clear, what you're saying is, I'm against anybody being discriminated. But if we have policies against people discriminating, right, then that is discrimination against the people who were already discriminating. Right? That's pretty much the entire crux of your argument. I don't want DEI. I don't want affirmative action. I don't want any of these things because that's discriminating against the people discriminating. And I want the people that are discriminating to continue to be able to discriminate without any policy stopping them from being able to discriminate. That's what you call doublespeak, sir.
I mean, we obviously have a very different understanding of this topic. I think that, and there was an article in Compact Mag a couple of weeks ago. I forget the guy's first name, but the journalist's name was Savage, like a 10,000-word op-ed, where he provided some pretty compelling statistics that, especially for young men, that there is overt preference for candidates that are like non-male and non-white, right? And if we are in a society that opposes this discrimination, we should be opposed to it in all senses, not just when it's certain minority groups.
What's the point? What's the point of large companies? Right? What's the point of a company in general?
To return on an investment.
To make money. Exactly. Return on investment. Exactly. Well, Forbes actually specifically said, Matt threw this out here. I wanted to throw this out there right here because I have read this. But Forbes says diverse companies with DEI policies make more money. So why would companies not want DEI policies if it makes them more money? If they're beholden to their stakeholders to make more money, if they want a larger return on investment, and things like DEI policies help them make more money, then why would they not want that?
Because of the legal incentives that I outlined at the beginning of this conversation.
It has nothing to do with legal incentives, sir.
No, it's like there's compliance costs with every business, right? One of those compliance is remaining compliant with government policy on things like civil rights and DEI.
You've yet to show me this government policy.
Well, I mean, I already identified two. Executive Order 11646.
You are talking in circles now.
Of liability for disparate impact.
Again, that was affirmative action. We've already figured out that's not DEI, and...
Okay, so you don't like my DEI argument. Let's go to the next one.
No, you're not making a DEI argument, sir. You're making an affirmative action argument, and you just keep saying DEI. Okay, right, so if you were actually making a DEI argument, then we could have a DEI argument. But you're not making a DEI argument. You're making an affirmative action argument, and then you just keep saying DEI.
So I already said that the way that I use these terms is that DEI is an umbrella term, like that encompasses a bunch of different policies that are aimed to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in my mind, affirmative action is one of those policies. Right, so you're drawing this distinction. I don't accept that distinction. but I think that you know what I mean when I'm talking.
No, pretty
And
much
so
all
it's
you're
like, I
saying now at this
perceive,
point is like I made up words in my head and made up definitions for things in my head, and now I want you to comply with the made up definitions you made in your head. And I'm refusing to comply with your made up definitions because these things already have definitions, they already have policies, and you don't get to just make up and change your mind on what they are because it fits your narrative better.
all right, can we talk about the deportations?
I guess, sure.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that we've secured our border, and I totally support all of the actions that ICE are taking to remove these foreigners from our country. Right? They have no legal right to be here. We're not talking about killing them or doing anything that
But they
horrible.
are
We're just
killing
sending
them.
them back to where we're like murdering them.
Yeah, you said you support all the things they're doing, and ICE is literally killing them, right? Like we had
Like,
the guy in Chicago who was just killed by ICE. We had another guy that was just killed in ICE detention in Texas. A couple days ago, we have Renee Nicole Good who was killed during ICE operations. Not to mention all the people that are being beat up, injured, left on the side of the road to bleed to death. We've sent people to things like Seacont where they've been tortured and freaking killed. We've had 1,500 people disappear from Alligator Alcatraz, a literal concentration camp that was built. So they literally are killing people, though.
so you mentioned ICE's actions, and you mentioned a couple of examples, including Renee Good. Would you agree that she was obstructing justice?
Would you agree that she was killed?
Her contact with police? Yeah, she was obviously killed.
Yeah, she was. She
Would
was
you agree
killed.
that she was
So when you
obstructing
said,
justice?
sir, so when you said they're not killing anyone, you were wrong.
I said that they're not murdering anyone, and I
Oh,
don't
they're
think
not
that what
murdering
happened there
anyone.
was
So
murder.
somebody that was in ICE detention that ended up dead, a 50-something-year-old man that was dead. The autopsy showed he was strangled to death, and the coroner has already said that it was a homicide. What about that guy?
Right. So homicide is not a legal designation. All that means is that there were other people involved when he died. Right. So that doesn't mean that it's murder. Right. It doesn't say anything
Gotcha.
about
So what
whether
was
or
it?
not the killing was justified. I actually don't know about that case. I'm just clarifying what
Oh,
homicide means
okay.
on the medical examiner's report.
Well, there's
Right?
been
So
like
I don't
what?
know enough about that case to comment on it, but I do know a lot about the Renee Good case, right? Which is why I was asking you about that.
Well,
So
I know because you
prior
guys
to
like to
her,
concentrate on this case as if it's a singular case, right? And I was actually specifically doing that because, again, my argument against you right now is that you're saying they're not killing anyone, and I'm giving you examples of how they're killing people. I'm not here to freaking. We can have a full conversation about Renee Nicole Good and how she was absolutely murdered by ICE. That's not an issue. But you said a second ago they weren't killing anyone. Why are we moving the goalpost to the specific situation around Renee Nicole Good instead of just talking about the fact that ICE is actually killing people?
so I was pretty careful in my language. I said murder, right? People are being killed, yes, but like when you commit crimes and resist arrest, sometimes the police have to use lethal force, right? So it's like that's not the same thing as murder.
Oh, so you're saying that if you resist arrest, you're according to our law, you're allowed to be killed.
If the person has a reasonable belief that you're placing him or someone else at risk for imminent bodily injury, then yeah.
Oh, imminent
That's how the
bodily
law is
injury.
structured.
Oh, interesting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going back to Renee Good, would you agree that prior to the interaction that ultimately cost her life, that she was obstructing justice?
No, of course not. And even if she was,
So,
obstructing justice is not a capital crime.
I'm not saying it's a capital crime, but
Then what does it have to do with anything?
because are you saying that it's not relevant to what happened next?
It shouldn't be at all. No.
So if you
Obstructing
obstruct
justice is not a capital crime, sir. So therefore, obstructing justice doesn't end up with 3 bullet holes to your head, okay? And that's not
Right,
legal
but
in
you're
any way,
skipping
shape,
a
or
lot
form.
of-
Like you said very specifically, sir, the only reason that you can freaking use capital punishment, right, or to use deadly force, right, within a law enforcement type action, right, is if they are trying to commit bodily harm against you or somebody else. So there's rules around that too. You do know that, right?
Of course. And
Yeah.
so, but going back to what I was saying, so, I mentioned that she was obstructing justice, and now you're skipping ahead to her getting killed.
Because it's not
and there's a lot of
important.
relevant stuff that happened in between.
Was she
there.
also
Well, it is-
jaywalking? Did she steal a Snickers bar earlier? Like,
Well, would
does
you agree
any
that
of
if you're
that matter?
obstructing justice,
She
that
wasn't.
entitles law enforcement to detain you?
But she wasn't. But sure.
Okay,
But she wasn't.
Yeah, but it would, right? And so if she was there with the express purpose of blocking ICE agents, right, that would be a legitimate reason for them to stop and detain her, would it not?
Sure. But she wasn't doing that.
Right. And so when they stopped and detained her, she then resisted arrest.
But no. But she wasn't doing that. We have all the videos showing very specifically that she was waving cars by. Actually, Officer Ross, who actually shot her, his SUV was already on the other side of hers because it had already passed hers. So therefore, she was not committing any type of obstruction as cars were easily passing by her on that exact same road. So she wasn't obstructing anything. So therefore, that already takes away your legal rationale in order to detain her.
Not necessarily, because first of all, you only need a reasonable articulable suspicion. You don't need to have it proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Oh no, not when it comes to ICE,
but more
because ICE is.
We have really crucial eyewitness testimony from someone who was there, as well as the Facebook post or whatever post was made by her wife
on video,
which she indicated that yes, her purpose was.
No.
She hold
on. Now you're wrong again. Now you're wrong again, because they can't have just reasonable suspicion, because they don't have any jurisdiction over Nicole Good, because she's a U.S. citizen. The only jurisdiction they have is if she is currently obstructing a law enforcement action, a deportation action. So they would have had to have been trying to detain a migrant, and she would have had to have been specifically obstructing that legal action in order for her to be able to be detained. They can't work off of reasonable suspicion of possibly trying to obstruct, because they are Immigration and Customs Patrol. They're not police officers. They are federal agents that fall in the Department of Homeland Security that are out for a certain job and only have jurisdiction over U.S. citizens under those very, very, very minute and direct circumstances, ones that they did not have.
Well, I mean, you've already acknowledged that if she was obstructing justice, they would be legally authorized to detain her. So I don't know why you're bringing it.
But she wasn't doing that. Sure, it would have had to have been overwhelming evidence that she was doing that, and we have overwhelming evidence that it is not. But you just said all it had to do was be a reasonable suspicion, which I was counteracting, because it does not have to be a reasonable suspicion. She has to be actually doing it. It has to be provable that she was actually doing it, and she wasn't.
Well, have you seen the eyewitness testimony of the person who saw what happened? And she was saying that she was one of the people leading the protest, and that her purpose was to block the ICE vehicles, and that she was very successful.
Well, she did a real bad job if one got on the other side of her and she was waving them on through.
Well, we only have a 3-minute video. We don't have any, I think that you're acting like we know the entirety of the circumstance of everything that led up to it off of a 3-minute video.
Sir, again, I don't really care about any of this shit whatsoever. Okay? To be truly honest, arguing the fucking legality of whether or not they had the right to detain her for obstructing after she was obviously not obstructing, okay, is ridiculous. Because again, even if she was obstructing, okay, the friggin' ICE agent had no reason to be in front of her car, which he shouldn't have been, okay, because that's against their policy. All right. She had every right to to be able to move out of the way without getting shot, right? Because that's not illegal. You can't shoot someone for trying to get away. She backed up to avoid the ICE agent. She turned her wheel all the way to the right to avoid the ICE agent. And the ICE agent didn't fire a single shot until he was already out of the way of the vehicle, which, according to actually already case law that we have, is actually the first step. You got any type of ICE agent or police officer has to, first thing, move out of the way of the vehicle, which he did, because again, he didn't fire a sure shot until he was out of the way.
I mean, from where I'm standing, she was obstructing justice. She then resisted arrest, disobeyed lawful orders.
None of that
and then committed aggravated assault against both the officer in front of her car as well as the officer beside her car.
Then how come neither of them pulled their weapons?
Contact with the vehicle. Why does that matter?
Oh, because I was just saying, you said, hey, if there's a imminent threat to an officer or, a fellow officer or anything like that, right? If it was if they were a threat, then they have the right to use lethal force. And I'm just wondering, okay, if all of those officers had the ability to use lethal force in that situation, how come only one pulled their weapon?
Well, just because only one pulled their weapon doesn't change whether they were legally allowed to.
No, it does, but it does go to their mindset.
I have to go, but I'll call back later.
Please don't.
This was fun. Sorry, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason why they didn't pull their weapons, sir, and this was probably a really good time for you to run. The reason why they didn't pull their weapons, because nobody believed that that officer was in danger. Nobody did. Okay? 0 people did. Everybody watching that was standing 5 feet from him Could see that he wasn't in danger. Could see that they were trying to get away. Guys, I understand. Like, it's so crazy that like MAGA has literally turned into like, guys, they should have just complied. They should have, guys, just because the Nazis are they're just asking for your papers, okay? The Gestapo's just asking for your papers. Just comply. Just comply. Just tread all over me, daddy. These are the people that told me that they were freaking having guns to hold up against a tyrannical government. These are the same people that told me, you know, like, told me about states' rights and everything else that we were supposed to talk about. But apparently, we have a literal rogue force, okay, going around asking people for their papers. And all these little Trump supporters just like, please just ask me for my papers. Please tread all over my rights. Please break the freaking First Amendment all over me, daddy. You guys are sad, dude. And it's fucking sad. You guys are fucking simps, dude. It's really, really sad. Yo, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's just a train ride, guys. Guys, they're just sending them to the camps for a little bit. Okay? I'm sure they're not doing anything else. Okay? It's just a tax on tea, guys. It's just a tax on tea. Just pay it to the British. It's just a tax on tea, guys. Just pay it to the British. It'll be okay. If they would just listen and pay the tax, then we wouldn't have any problems. Guys, just show your papers. Just show them your papers, guys. You guys are sad, dude. Kappa, thank you so much. Said, I'm from Turkey and I support Trump because he's unofficially annexed Syria thanks to his stance. Yeah, that's not true. That's not even close. Literally, the Taliban is like running all over fucking Syria right now. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but thanks for the, I don't know, whatever that is, like $5. Lay's official says, I think I speak for all of us on how it may be difficult to convince his caller he's wrong, but no one doubts the bold flavor of Lay's. Now with less uranium. Well, that's good. That's good. I actually kind of miss the uranium, but y'all, if you guys would like to support the live, I really appreciate you guys. I do have super chats, super stickers, pay links in the bio, all that stuff. I really appreciate you guys. They're all at Polypolitics, just like my name. Stacy, thank you so much for the $2. Says historically, white men have suffered the most. Oh yes, absolutely. Historically, can we get some W's in chat for Lay's in the house? Yeah, they suffered so hard. And Brilliant, thank you so much for the $5. Said, what's the difference between detain an unalive caller? Even if they had jurisdiction to detain her, they didn't have the right to fire on her. Exactly. But again, they're killing a whole bunch of other people too. It's just sad. It's just sad that this is where we're at in our society. It really, really is sad. Mel, thank you so much for the $5. So these maggots would have told Jesus he should have complied instead of being crucified. Guys, just comply. The Romans aren't that bad, okay? Like, they probably won't crucify you. He should have just complied. You know those Pharisees that are saying all those rules in there? You should just comply to them. Just bow down to them. It's fucking wild. Chris, thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo. Says, how is Minnesota the state they pick? We literally have a top 5 state. They pick it because it's blue and because they're vindictive and trying to silence their political enemies. That's why. Because they're literally trying to silence their political enemies. But again, this is what we live in now. Phone lines are back open. We'll keep this thing going. Delissa, thank you so much for the $5. Said, because the MAGA cult think they're exempt from the bullshit happening in America. Yeah, they think so. They won't be. I'm telling you right now, dude, if they're killing white women, y'all are fucked. Okay? I'm telling you right now, if they're killing white women, y'all are fucked. Just being straight up about it. Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate that. All right. I guess I scared most of the MAGA off with that last caller. But that's okay. I'm sure we'll get somebody else in here in a sec. They were calling for a second. That must have been a real bet. The only time MAGA stops calling is when I dog walk the shit out of one of them. Hello. How are you? Oh, you're not there. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing perfectly fine.
Awesome. How old are
Been
you?
watching your live stream a little bit, and I wanted to put my hat into
Yeah, how
into your
old are
little
you?
arena. Oh, can you hear me?
How old are you?
Oh, I am 32.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yep.
Awesome. Why is that?
That's insane.
All right. So, my first line to that, and I watching the live stream earlier and with the previous caller, I'll just put it out there. I've lived in both big cities and very large farmland. One of the things that I firmly enjoy is the fact that I have freedom. And out of the rest of the world, with censorship laws, detainment, and everything else, all I can say is you might not like Trump, but with the way that Kamala was planning on running her campaign, it wasn't going to be any better.
First of all, we're like 15th on the World Freedom Index. We're like not even close to the most free country. Second of all, Kamala Harris did run her campaign. I don't know what they did. She was going to. She did run it.
I wouldn't agree with that, considering that
The campaign's
in her own
over,
campaign,
so she did run it.
She ran it, didn't succeed on it. She was in a deficit for her own campaign for over $20 million.
Not true and
lied to a whole
debunked.
bunch of her constituents.
Not true and
That's
unequivocally
actually proven
debunked.
by Reuters.
Oh, you got it from Reuters? Sure. What's that Reuters article? I'd love to see that. Because I've read 900 articles on this, and I've never seen one that actually confirmed any of that.
Well, considering that the DNC went bankrupt, yeah, and Reuters confirmed that one too.
The
So I
DNC
can
went
send you all those
bankrupt?
private links.
This is funny. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun.
Okay. But either way, I want to sit here and I want to have the conversation with you because since you're able to ask why we still support Trump, I'm still waiting on why you don't.
Because I don't support bad presidents.
So, like the Allens, Clintons, anything like that, you would support those? Would you consider those good presidents?
Clinton was a bad person, but not a horrible president. I mean, when was the last time we had a balanced budget in the United States?
Monica Lewinsky, whole 9 yards.
I didn't say he was a good person.
Yeah.
I said very unequivocally he was a bad person. But unfortunately, getting freaking blown underneath the freaking Oval Office just makes you a bad person, not really a bad president.
Well, I just figured you would have something against the deportation numbers, considering him,
Why?
Obama, several other people had higher numbers of deportations, higher numbers of lethal encounters with ICE, things of that nature. But, I mean, you know, Renee Good and all that, because
Were there
nobody
concentration
wants to
camps?
talk about the fact that there's other people that have died because of all this, but it wasn't because of ICE. You know, illegal immigrants, killing people, sex trafficking rings, whole 9 yards.
Yeah, you mean like the sex trafficking ring that Donald Trump is currently, holding evidence against the law on in order to protect the criminals that were doing it?
I mean, the same ones that Biden did.
Whether Biden did it or not, sir, you do realize that
Trump.
Trump is currently the only one that there is a law by Congress passed that is forcing him to release the Epstein files, and he is currently covering them up.
Oh, see, here's where you've got that kind of mixed up. Is not all MAGAs, and I'm going to use that term very broadly because honestly, I feel like Democrats and Republicans can agree on this, that we would just want to see that list released. But one of the things that we've seen on both sides is that when the Bidens had it, they didn't release it either.
Again,
And
sir,
now that Trump's
when the
got it, he
Bidens
hasn't
had it,
released it
it was
either.
under active investigation, and we don't release files that are under active investigation. As soon as Trump came into office, he ended the active investigation, so therefore it wasn't falling under an active investigation anymore. But regardless of any of that, sir, did Congress pass something saying that Biden had to release the files? Yes or no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
I'll give
did
you
they do that
one,
with
but at
Trump
the
and
same
force him
time,
to release the files because they're no longer under active investigation?
Here's the thing, though.
Hold on.
and
No.
this is what I'll
I don't want to go to
tell
here's
you
the
about.
thing.
No,
Did
no,
Congress pass a law saying that they had to release those files?
I'm agreeing with you. but I'm
It's a
getting
yes
to
or
my
no.
other
Then
point,
the answer
and
is
then we'll talk about it.
sir, then the answer is yes. Okay.
No,
So
no,
currently,
we'll
right
talk about
now,
this part.
there is one president who is protecting child sex traffickers Okay. And it's Donald Trump and Donald Trump only. So it makes it kind of difficult for me to hear your argument talking about immigrants doing so when we know that immigrants in the United States, especially undocumented immigrants, commit violent crime in the United States at a rate 30 times less than American citizens do. And while you support somebody who's adjudicated of sexual assault on top of the other 30, sexual assaults that he settled outside of court, right? But they adjudicated in court for committing at least one that freaking, said he had sex in common with his daughter, sexualized a 10-year-old, and freaking is stopping the release of the Epstein files. It just makes it kind of hard for me to think that you're actually genuine when it comes to anything that's going on with immigrants.
Oh, no. See, here's the thing, is that you don't get to straw man that into an immigrant policy when you're the one that's sitting here going, A, if the Epstein files could have been released earlier, why didn't the Biden administration?
They couldn't
why
be.
Is
I
it
already
well
discussed that,
known
sir.
That everything was done in secret?
Sir, did you
And
not
B,
hear the
how
entire
is it
time
that
I talked about
Biden-
an active investigation? I did it twice already. This is number 3, where I talked about the active investigation. I've already done that. Were you just ignoring all of that? And just to repeat it again?
No, I heard
because I've already addressed
You're the
this.
one that's trying to ramrod yourself in when I'm trying to explain something.
No, sir. You just keep
So,
repeating
because of
things that I've already
and
I've already spoken against and already debunked. And I'd like to move on with the conversation. It's kind of boring for you to just repeat it like you didn't hear anything.
Oh, no. Again, you keep ramrodding, so all I get out
What
of
the
this
fuck is
that-
ramrodding? You already used straw manning incorrectly, and now you're using ramrodding as if that's a term I'm supposed to understand.
Yeah, so straw manning is where you're trying to use an argument that's way too broad and to encompass a singular concept, so not inaccurate. Second part.
And how did
is
I do that?
When I'm trying to talk about ramrod, it's when you keep interrupting me, trying to enforce a singular projection of an idea, but you're not allowing the conversation to move forward. So ramrod.
Yeah. Awesome.
Other
That's
way,
not a real fucking
if you
thing.
had any
First of
concept
all, that's not a real fucking thing. Okay. So second of all,
Yeah, it is.
I wasn't straw manning, sir. We were talking about people sexually assaulting people. You made an example of
Yeah,
migrants doing
no.
it, and I made an example of the person that you support doing it. And I was making a very direct comparison, saying that it is ridiculous for you to say that you are against sexual assault and support the sexual assaulter. Okay. That's not a straw man at all. I'm sorry that you think it is. Okay. But it's not at all.
No,
All right.
it
But
is,
let's
but
talk about
I'm
migrants
still
that are
opposed
actually
to it.
committing crime. I'm 100% okay with that. So, do we have migrants that do commit crime in this country? Absolutely. And I think that that's absolutely horrible. I would actually very much prefer that people like our ICE agents, or whatever, will eventually, which will eventually replace ICE, because ICE, there's no president, no matter which side they're on, is going to be able to run on freaking supporting ICE anymore after what Donald Trump has done. But regardless of any of that, I wish our ICE would go after that, except for it's like less than 3% of people that Donald Trump, that Donald Trump's ICE has arrested that have committed any violent act whatsoever, right? What they're mostly doing is ripping mothers away from children, putting them in handcuffs, taking fathers away, beating them up, taking American citizens, not giving them a chance to get in their papers, leaving them beat up at fucking Target parking lots. That's the part I'm worried about, sir. If it was just deportations, like, honestly, as much as I think it's a ridiculous stance to go on and completely illogical to try to deport 14 million people, especially people that are boosting up our economy as strong as we are, I think it's stupid, but the president has the right to do that, okay? But you making a claim that freaking, he's getting rid of all these freaking violent criminals when literally that is the absolute minority of people that he's actually going after is kind of ridiculous.
Okay, so I've let you have your second. I would like to rebuttal.
Can you do it without repeating something I've already debunked?
Well, here's the thing. You can't
No?
debunk
Okay.
something in conversation because every new conversation is going to bring in new points, correct? So if you're just generalizing these things by going, I've already debunked this, and you've talked about a multitude of concepts of which, again, I'm looking on your live screen. It's not like you're bringing up any evidence. You're not showing people what's being
Sure.
talked
Here's
about.
the evidence
So
right
you
here.
say
They
you're
said Kamala Harris
debunking
by
everything.
Reuters. They said Kamala Harris didn't go that over budget. She did spend money, but she did not bankrupt the DNC, nor did she go 20 million over budget. There's the article right there. By Reuters.
No,
I even
here's
pulled the
the thing.
Reuters. I even pulled it from Reuters since that's where you said it was at.
Okay, cool. Here's the thing. She
Yeah.
did go over by 20 million because that is the extent of the interest of which she occurred because it was a bank transaction which went over. That is accurate. And here's the thing. The DNC was not drawn into an over budget, nor was it in a deficit because of her. The DNC lost a crap ton of money because a whole bunch of donors.
Sir, I really don't give a fuck about this. We were talking about immigration. You just said I hadn't pulled up any evidence, and I was just showing that what you were saying was bullshit prior. Can we move back onto immigration, please?
No, please, please. Here's what I have to say about it is, one, when we start talking about immigration, when we start talking about the people that are being removed, I can tell you for a fact, because I've actually gotten to witness some of this, is that when people are coming out of their houses, they're not tearing families away. That's a very nuanced look. The reality is, at least in my perception and most of the data that I've seen, is that these people are actually kind of aggressive and violent and have come out with guns and have come out with knives and have tried to kill other people just because they can.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm waiting.
Oh no, this is just a fucking joke, right? Like you're trolling, right?
No. I'm
Are you
sitting
literally on my live trying to tell me that because you saw someone get detained by ICE, that other situations like this where ICE aren't happening? Is that literally what you just said to me?
No, that's
Yes, literally what you just said.
what
You were
I
like,
just said to you.
I have personal experience and I've seen ICE deal with people. And in those situations that I saw, okay, which can't be more than what, like 3 times maybe out of the tens, if not hundreds of thousands of ICE detentions, actually well more than the hundreds of thousands that have happened. And you're making an entire judgment off of hundreds of thousands of ICE detentions, probably close to 1 million ICE detentions. And you're making a snap judgment based off of all of that, based off of I've seen a few.
Again, as I was just saying before you morbidly decided to laugh, and I know that the empirical evidence suggests further. That is not me going that I know the entirety of the spectrum of it. It's me going from my own personal experience and what I've seen in the empirical data, both by the Gov and by just about every other time that we see it on the internet. Oh, ICE. Guess what? Here's the thing. There's about 1,000 different angles where cameras are everywhere. We've gotten to see them. We've gotten to see the actual totality of things that are not cut for 5 seconds going, oh my God, look, ICE just put this person on the ground. Guess what? I've seen the actual footage.
This guy's watched
And I
every
gotta tell you,
actual piece of footage from
really
every freaking ICE agent interaction where it's ended up with somebody getting hurt. This guy has watched the entirety of every single video. Sir, how do you even have time to be here? That's pretty impressive. How do you even have time to be here? Shouldn't you be somewhere keeping up? Because there's probably been about a dozen more ICE beatings since you've been here, and you need to go watch the entirety of every single one of those videos.
I don't know. See, here's the thing. Again, you're taking hyperbole.
I'm not taking hyperbole.
If
You
you
just
decide to
said,
take hyperbole,
I've watched
which is very
all of the
literal
videos in
statement.
their entirety and it's not happening. That is what you just said. You said all of these interactions
Yeah.
that are 5 seconds on the internet, which there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of those. You are making the claim
Millions.
that you have watched all of those in their entirety from every different camera angle in their full complexity and completely holistically. And all of that combined, you know that none of this stuff is happening.
Oh, I didn't say none of it. That's not what I
Oh,
said
because
at
you
all.
did.
No.
Yeah.
If you want to roll back your tape, you can.
No, I'm good. I'm going to erase this conversation from my memory as fast as humanly possible.
I wish you the best of luck in
insane.
that. But again, you're taking hyperbole and you're making it literal. So, here's the thing. I've looked up a lot of these claims because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being bamboozled. And I'll tell you right now. In my opinion, deportations are great. Deportations are wonderful. But when we start getting into the whole, let me see your papers, all right, didn't the Biden administration do that to us with COVID?
Nope.
Wasn't there restrictions about where you could go based on your vaccination status? And if you didn't have your vaccination
Like
card,
where?
you were denied certain entry into places?
Yeah, like where?
Oh, wait, it did happen.
Like where?
That happened a lot.
Like where?
New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut.
You couldn't go
Colorado.
into New York without a vaccination status? That's new.
There's a lot of places you couldn't go in New York because of it.
And the Biden administration did that. Oh, okay, cool. That's interesting that the Biden administration literally blocked people from going into places in New York, but not going into places in Florida. That's pretty crazy. It's funny how the Biden administration only specifically picked out certain places where they wanted, people to go, and other states where they didn't want people to go. Seems kind of strange.
So you're referencing Florida, which as a state said we will refuse to close because it will harm our economy, but yet.
Oh, so Biden as the president of the United States it wasn't the president over Florida?
Oh, so what you're telling me is that states don't have rights?
Oh, states do have rights. You said the Biden administration forced them. You said the Biden administration forced them. And if states have their states' rights in order to do what states want to do, then that means the Biden administration didn't force them. Let's also be very, very clear that those school shutdowns and those economy shutdowns and those business shutdowns, all those things happen under Trump's administration.
Actually, no, they didn't.
Actually, yes, they did. And I do know better.
No, you know
and yes,
better.
They fucking did. All of those things happened under the Trump administration. And Trump's lack of leadership is what led to certain states like New York going to one end of the spectrum and states like Florida going to another end of the spectrum. And the reason that is because Donald Trump completely lacked leadership when it came to this. It's like, for some reason, people forget that COVID happened under freaking Trump. Like, he was president for like a year after after COVID hit. Apparently, this caller thinks that nothing shut down for the year that COVID first started under Trump, and then Biden came in, and now they started shutting down, which is just wholly and completely, utterly inaccurate, sir. The states did make individual decisions on what they were going to do as far as shutdown. And yeah, some states may have gone too far. Some states didn't go far enough. But that's what happens when you have leaders of countries that are completely inept and have no ability to lead, like Donald Trump. And by the time Biden got in office, hell, it was all way too out of control for anybody to fucking handle. You know what I'm saying? But, at least he did his best. At least he didn't do things like, get rid of a pandemic response team in order to do stuff like that, sir. But again, nobody was going around asking for your papers. There wasn't a federal agency going around making sure that you had your COVID booster check on you. Were there? Did I miss the part where we had a federal agency that was going around checking to see if people had their vaccination cards or not?
Actually, they did.
Oh, what federal agency was that? Was that their job?
Part of Homeland Security is it was activated.
Oh yeah, which part?
An entire town.
Yeah, which part of the federal government agency went around and was charged with finding U.S. citizens and making sure they had their vaccination card?
Let's see. So Homeland Security, just like I said,
Homeland Security is not an agency.
The entire town.
Homeland Security is not an agency. Nope, it's not.
It is.
Nope, it's a department. It's the Department of Homeland Security. It's a department.
It is
agencies
an agency,
under
the same way that the FBI is also a department.
No, it's not. It's an agency under the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
It's an agency. Yeah, just like ICE is an agency under Homeland Security, just like Customs and Border Protection is an agency under Homeland Security, like the Coast Guard is an agency under fucking the Department of Homeland Security. So when I said what agency was charged with that, sir, Department of Homeland Security is not an agency.
Again, it's under Homeland Security, which can act as its own operational security, which means it's an agency as well. Were you just sitting here being quiet now?
That was literally too stupid for me to respond to, so I was just going to wait for you to say the next thing.
It's okay. I'm still watching your stream. You look entirely entertained. But, yeah, either way. I do have a side question for you, though.
I wish you wouldn't.
Yeah. So, if you had a choice, because this is a prior thing. All right, so would you take Ron DeSantis in place of Donald Trump, or would you take Maduro in place of Kamala?
You know, it's actually funny. Like, I thought the last thing couldn't get dumber, and yet we somehow got to dumber. That's pretty impressive.
I can keep going.
That's pretty impressive. You can get dumber? That doesn't surprise me.
I can have
We'll let you go do that some. I literally thought that we could not get dumber, and yet we somehow got dumber. That's crazy. I'm sorry. I don't know how to. I honestly don't even know how to respond to that. My brain doesn't get that stupid. I apologize. Y'all, thank you guys so much for being here. Please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Guys, we're almost halfway to this hat and mustache goal. I'd love to hit this one so we can try to get to another one. Maybe actually hit some more of this gift gallery stuff. So if you'd like to help support, I really, really appreciate that with the gifting over there. Burning Below, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Said, you are so full of yourself. You tell foreigners you know what's going on in their... Wow, sorry. We just must be on one today. You are so full of yourself. You tell foreigners you know better about what's going on in there than they do. I assume you mean in their country. And if you paid attention to what the guy said, he said, I'm in Turkey. This is what's going on in Syria. Not the same country. Okay. Syria and Turkey are two different countries. Okay. I guess it does take a certain level of education to know that. Did you know Turkey? Burning Below, did you know Turkey is a country, not just a deli meat? Did you know that? You're so full of yourself. You don't even like if someone from Argentina tells you what's going on in Vietnam, they're all foreigners to me. So you ought to listen to them. That's how stupid you sound. Okay? Just thought I'd let you know that. That's how stupid you sound. Just thought I'd let you know. Bugman, thank you so much for the high five. Lisa, thank you so much for the 6-7. Hash Brown, thank you so much for the 2. Burning Below. Oh, here's our special friend again. Immigrants are not boosting the economy. Opposite. You know, I'd love to talk to you. Why don't you call in? I would love to talk to you. It sounds like you are very, very confident and very, very loud and very, very wrong. It sounds like your ability to be confident and loud is only surpassed by your ability to be fucking wrong. Okay? So you should try calling in. This would be very, very fun for me. All right? MK Ultra said, he dog walked you. Oh my God, he got me so, MK, I'm so hurt by this super chat. You know what hurt me even more? If you just sent me, like, next time if you sent me like a $10 super chat and said he dog walked you, that would hurt me so much more. I'd probably cry myself to sleep tonight. You please don't do that. I don't know if I could handle it. I'd be so hurt. Please don't. Please don't do. I'm in pain. Oh, it hurts. Please don't. Heathen, or I'm the problem ignored here. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Huge W's in the chat for Heathen. Says, ramrodding is crude slang about procreation, thus furthering our position. MAGA brings hoo-has and ding-dongs into every conversation. This also took me a long time to edit, so I could send it. We have talked quite a few times about how about autocorrect and super chats. It is very, very important to pay attention to. Thank you so much, Heathen. Big W's in the chat for Heathen. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Y'all, if you guys would like support, I do have super chats, super stickers, all the little gifts and all that sort of stuff. Thank you guys so much for clearing out the hat and mustache over here.
Insane.
I'm probably going to throw another one up there. So if you guys would like to hook it up, I really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We're going to try to freaking get this gift gallery lit up nice and early. So thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate that. Lou, thank you so much for the $5. Said Trump did say he loves the poorly educated. Smart people don't like me. I don't know why. I don't know why smart people don't like me. It's weird. I don't get it. Look at this ballroom. I'm going to stare. It's a beautiful ballroom. It's a beautiful ballroom. Thank you so much, Lute. I appreciate that. All right, let's open up these phone lines. Keep this thing going. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It's the beautifulest ballroom. It's the best ballroom I've ever had. It's the best ballroom I've ever seen. Mary had a little ballroom. Hello, how are you?
Fine.
Good. How old are
How you
you?
doing, man? Huh?
How old are you?
19? Why yes?
Because I have to know for the TikTok terms of service and YouTube terms of service. So, anyways, do you still support Trump?
I guess, yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
You don't know?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, why?
Because that's
No
the point of the
point.
live, sir. If you
Yeah.
don't, then there's no point in being here.
Yes, yeah, my bad. Yeah, I do.
All right. Why is that?
Because, wait, does this charge my bill?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
What are you talking about? Yo, please make sure you guys are sending a daily little heart me. I really appreciate that over on TikTok. Thank you guys so much. If you guys could, I really appreciate that. That was wild. What's going on my bill? Who's still paying for minutes, bro? Who's still paying for minutes? What is this fucking 2001? You gotta wait until a certain time to get unlimited? What are we doing over here, dude? Who the heck is still paying for minutes, bro?
That was wild.
Hey,
On my bill. Who's still paying for a minute?
Yo, turn off the live in the background.
I turned it off.
Awesome. How old are you?
I'm 28. I
Awesome.
don't want to waste your time. Actually, I was only able to form an opinion on Donald Trump after I left the country, where I wasn't being bombarded with all the media. But I used to actually support him because I was brainwashed. After I left, I realized how stupid he was, and I actually have my valid reasons. But I really think it's about just being more empathetic towards the other side, because I mean, just, you know, both sides are kind of just, you know, in shambles, if that makes sense.
Yes, perspective is very important when talking about politics, and I think that people that have been outside the country and lived outside the country, I think that they do have a lot more perspective to the views of the United States, from outside points of view, and I think that is very important to gaining logical opinions and valid opinions on things. Plus, you get to see how other people live around the world, and you realize that this whole idea that United States is this like mecca of just being better than everybody else is just complete just bullshit. Like, there's a lot of really awesome places in the world. Not saying I don't love the shit out of my country, just saying.
I'm actually American too, by the way.
I figured.
So our country, but no, you're absolutely right. Leaving the country, gaining perspective. I was living in Florida last year, Trump land, and I never really, you would watch the news, and it's really convincing actually. Like, I would say I'm a pretty rational person, and I started realizing the sleight of hand they use, right? Immigrant moved into the country, killed someone, right? And I'm like, okay, that's horrible, right? Any reasonable person would say that's horrific. And then they ask you, don't you support a strong border? And of course, no one would say no Democrat, no Republican. Then that's when the sleight of hand happens, right? Not every immigrant is a terrorist. Not every immigrant is a criminal, right? They're showing you this extreme generalization, and anyone would answer yes to that question, but then they swap it with a policy that doesn't make sense. And that's the issue. People aren't analyzing these things. They're letting themselves be fooled.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's exactly what they're doing, and I do want to bring this up. I don't want to hold on. I'm not going to hold on to you for too long, but I think this conversation is kind of important, right? Like,
Okay, I respect that.
But like that's exactly what they're doing in Minnesota right now, right? So we have all the videos of them beating people up, of them leaving people beaten and bloodied, sending people to the hospital, murdering people in Minnesota right now. We have that, like we have all the proof that could possibly exist that's happening right now in Minnesota. But what do they do when they come on TV? Oh, we arrested this one guy who was a sex trafficker in another country, and this other guy, you know, had done had an illegal crime someplace else, right? Like in someplace, you know, wherever. And so therefore that justifies all of the negatives to them. Like that justifies the, you know, the hundreds of people who are being, the people they've blinded, the pepper, you know, the gassing of actual children, the gassing of pregnant women. And they use that as like, oh, well, see, all of our tactics are worth it because this one guy that we found that didn't commit a crime here, that did commit a crime someplace else, could have. And then you know, and then they do that on Fox News and they put it there, and then everybody goes, oh wow, ICE is doing so great, like it's awesome. And it's like, no dude, like you're right, I want you to catch the guy, the criminal, you're right, I don't need all the rest of the shit to go along with it, dude. Like you can just go catch the criminals. I don't need you to do all the bullshit to get to that point, right? And that's what really bothers me. That's what really, you know, like gets under my skin and all that sort of stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna let you go and move on to the next caller. But I appreciate you coming up. All right.
All right. Thanks, man. Bye.
Yeah. W's in the chat for caller. That was a nice little call. That was a nice little call. I really appreciate you going. All right, yo, there are 900 people in my TikTok alone, so we should easily be at 200,000 likes, and we should be able to easily clear this little hearts goal real quick. This should be super simple. So let's get up to 200,000 likes. Let's try to see if we can clear this quick goal real quick. Make sure you guys are sending your heart me's. And everyone, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And we will open up these phone lines and keep this thing going. Hello, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
I'm 39, actually.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
No, I do not support that man in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But one of my best friends does, and he's ex-military.
Okay, man. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I watch independent news, and every little thing that comes out of that man's mouth is just infuriating.
Yeah, that's why he's hard to listen to. I usually just read the transcripts because his voice annoys me. It really does. But unfortunately, we do have a large veteran community that still supports Trump, which I don't know.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it really is, and it's really bad. But unfortunately, we all have those friends, and it's really horrible. But I am going to move on to the next caller, man. I really appreciate you, just so I can get to some Trump supporters. But I hope you have a good one. All right.
Hey, roast the Trump supporters, man. You got my blessing.
All right, man. Bye. Oh, that person left. I have his blessing now. That's good. I was really hoping for that. Now I can. Can I marry his daughter now? Is that how that works? I'm not sure. Is Burning Below still there? I didn't know. I thought he had just left. I just assumed he had just left. All right. Well, Kara gets me. Oh, let's see. Is that person here? I don't know who's here. Oh, now we're getting all the calls in. Hello. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Why is that?
Well, right now, he aligns better with my values that I have, and I am a fan of that. Sorry.
Are
Hello,
your
can you hear me?
values murder or sexual assault or stealing from children with cancer, or just out of curiosity, which values is that?
Well, it would be the opposite of your values, which is mutilating children and to support the millions of Gen Z that are killed in abortion. If you want to play that game, how about we don't do that?
No, I would love to play that game, actually. That's actually
not
perfect.
fair. You're starting out very disingenuous, and you know.
No,
that.
sir, let's play that game. That has no problem. What children are being mutilated?
Do you support children being able to have same-sex? Having transgender surgeries?
No, and it's not legal in any state in the United States.
I'm just saying, do you support it?
Sir, it is not legal in any state in the United States, no matter how left, no matter anything like that. Nobody is supporting that whatsoever. No doctors are. It's not happening.
That's not
All right.
supported anywhere. You could ask any congressperson; they're not advocating for that. That's what you're saying.
Correct. Cool.
Okay.
So that was mine.
you don't
So
support
you said my value is that it's not happening. So that's easy on mine. So why do you supporting a president who was adjudicated of sexual assault?
But you didn't even start out the question like that. You're saying like, why do I support it? As in,
No,
like,
no,
oh,
we're
that's
talking
my
about
type of
values, sir.
views.
You said you support Donald Trump based off of his values. His values are he cheated on his first wife
I
with his
said-
second wife, his second wife with his third wife with a porn star. He's a 34-time fucking felon. He's defrauded children with cancer for a tune of $400 million. He's currently covering up the largest sex trafficking ring in the history of the United States. Okay, with the Epstein stuff and not releasing those files, even though it's required by law. He said he had sex in common with
Y'all
his
didn't release
daughter.
it when
He
y'all
said
had
that.
access to it.
Sir, he said he had sex in common with his daughter. He said he was going to be having relations with a child that was 10 years old in 10 years, literally sexualizing a 10-year-old. Okay, he's adjudicated of sexual assault. Like, what are you talking about? These are your values that you're sticking up for?
I said he's closer to my values, and that's a lot
Well, then
that you
I
said.
would I would question your values if what I just said is close to your values.
I mean, my side of my values is closer to, I would say, conservative values or family and stuff like that. How about we start off a nice conversation? You start.
This
very
is a nice
hot
conversation,
first.
sir. How is somebody that had cheated on his first wife with his second wife with his third wife with a porn star while she was pregnant? How is that supporting family values?
Is he pushing that into policy? Do you see a policy that says we want you to go cheat on your wife? That's his personal.
Well, sir, if we're talking about
That's
family values, what policy has anybody put into family values?
I think that he's got advocating for some child taxes.
Yeah.
That's already a family value.
So was Kamala Harris, dude. So what?
I know you're playing a thing like I'm not saying Kamala Harris.
No,
didn't
sir,
do
I'm
that.
looking, sir. You the one. I did not ask you to like. Let's do a level set here, okay? Okay. Can we level set real quick?
Of course.
I asked you why you supported Trump. You said he's close to your values. Okay. So I, am pointing out Donald Trump's values. Okay. So if you're going to tell me that your values more closely align to Donald Trump's values and Donald Trump's values are horrific, then I have questions about your values. That is why I am asking you specifically about things that correlate directly to the values of Donald Trump. Okay? So, if you would like to retract your answer, I have no problem with you doing that, but I don't want this back and forth where I bring up another horrific thing that Donald Trump does and you can't explain to me how it's close to your values. Because I thought I'd let you know Donald Trump has done a lot of really, really bad stuff. He's very far from a fucking Christian, he's very far from a fucking family man, and he's very far from a good person. So if you're going off of values, that is going to be a very, very strange sentiment to go with.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying his personal, like the man Donald Trump, what he does behind closed doors or in front of the public. I'm talking about his presidency and his politics. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
And
if you ask me right now, just for a second, if you ask me who's a better man, Obama or Trump, I would probably tell you Obama. But if you had to tell me whose policies do I prefer Trump's.
And which policy do you prefer?
I mean, where do you want me to start? Do you want me to start
Wherever
with
you want to
moral
start.
values, financial?
See, now you're back to
I
moral
mean,
values.
Oh, no, I'm just asking. I don't know what.
I don't care where you start, sir.
Well, that's not nice. Come on, you have to care to an extent.
No, I don't.
To talk to me.
You pick your poison, and then I will respond.
Are we just enemies to you? Like, you're just here to just destroy people, or you
Sir.
don't genuinely care about the human side?
How old did you say you were?
I said 22.
22. Perfect. Okay. We are going to attempt to have this conversation like an adult. This is my second warning. Okay. So we're going to attempt to have this conversation like adults. You said you support his policies. I asked you which policies. You said, where do you want me to start? I said, wherever you like. Okay. Whichever policy you want, whatever category of policy that you would like to go along, whatever type of policy does not matter to me. Okay. How about this? What is your favorite Donald Trump policy?
My favorite one, I would have to say it would be I don't know if you could say it's a policy, but I like his approach to like the tariffs and like to the market and stuff like that. I don't think that would be a policy. Like you mean like congressional?
Well, I would consider tariff policy to be policy. So why do you like tariff policy?
Because I feel that it's fair to have other nations that to prioritize us, like that we prioritize ourselves over other nations' goods.
Okay, awesome. So let's start with who pays a tariff?
It would be so like if we put a tariff on Japan, wouldn't it be the people in the U.S. buying products from Japan?
Correct. That is absolutely correct. So how is us charging our own people more money beneficial to us?
Can you say that again? It cut out. I apologize.
Yeah. How is taxing our own people beneficial to us?
Well, I guess it would make them buy the product that's in America or buy the product that's manufactured here, the business owners and stuff like that.
Okay. So that takes a couple assumptions, takes a few assumptions, right? One, do we make that product here? Okay. Which the majority of the products that he's tariffing on places like China, right? We don't, or either we don't, or either we do, not at the level that is needed in order to actually, sustain our consumption, right? And two, does the tariff actually freaking exceed the cost that it would be to buy one in America, right? And Donald Trump's tariffs have done neither of those things.
What do you mean exceed? Like I've seen people post products that said it's way more expensive because of the tariff and they don't buy them.
Yeah, they might not buy the product at all. Yeah.
Well, isn't that the point, to alter the choice? So it will force people to make the choice like, okay, now this is a crappy price and we're going to buy the American first product.
No, they just don't buy it at all. You
telling me they
seem
choose the tariff item?
No, they just don't choose an item. If I was going to buy a couch, right?
Yeah.
Let's say I was going to buy a couch and I was going to buy a cheap freaking Chinese couch off of Amazon, right? For like, let's say it's $500. Okay. Now I could go buy an American made couch, a nice oak American made couch for $2,000. Okay. Probably hold up a whole long time. But the problem is I don't have $2,000. All right. I have $500 and that's all I have. Well, now we tariff Chinese products 100%. So now that $500 couch is $1,000, right? I still only have $500 to buy a couch. So what do? I don't buy a couch because I don't have money. I just make the couch that I had last longer. So I just don't buy the product.
I see. And does that cause any competitive pricing doing that?
Explain.
Like, does that cause any competition, like to cause the American product to lower their product price? Like, they're like, okay, well, they're not buying this, they're not buying that. Well, we want them to buy ours, let's lower it.
Well, unfortunately, for the large majority of those products, the margins are too tight in order to do that, right? So that $2,000 couch costs $2,000 because that's how much the labor and the products cost in order to make that, plus a certain markup, right? If they were to lower that price, then they're not making any money.
Now, what if what if the product we're tariffing, because I know a lot of the tariffs is like just political punishment. What if the country that we're tariffing is like, okay, well, we'll remove our tariffs on you, and then we remove our tariffs on them? I thought most of it was just to try to get an edge.
What edge have we gained?
I know there's a few countries that have lowered their tariffs on us. Like I thought it was Vietnam,
like which one?
Or some South American countries, right?
Vietnam had an astronomically low tariff on them, and then we tariffed them like 70%, and they had a tariff on us of like 4%.
Or was it UK? There's a few nations I know that have already lowered their tariffs on us.
Nope, they just lowered their tariffs back down to what they were before Donald Trump tariffed them. Yeah, so they had either low or no tariffs, and then Donald Trump tariffed them, and then they raised their tariff, and then Donald Trump removed the tariff, and then they lowered their tariff back.
still got lowered, right?
But why do I care if they lower their tariff? So
Because
am
they're
I supposed to
buying
be super happy
our
that their
products.
people don't have to pay like their people pay less taxes now?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, in America, if we have these products that can't be afforded, then we just don't buy them. Well, wouldn't you reverse the logic and say now that the tariffs lowered, they'll buy them, so they're buying?
Nope, they're
American
still going to
products?
buy the Chinese stuff. Just like we're going to buy the Chinese stuff. If the UK lowers their prices on the United States, they're still going to buy their shit from China.
So you're just saying because we're too expensive.
Sir, there are certain things that are American made, but they are expensive, sir. And the tariff would have to make up for that price, and it doesn't. Okay? Not to dude, you have to understand that in order for freaking people to buy things here, our labor cost is incredibly high. We still have to import all of those natural resources for the most part, and all of those are tariffed anyway. Right? So even the parts that you need in order to create the parts are still tariffed, so therefore the prices still go up. Right? It costs more to make, it costs more to manufacture. We have a shortage of labor in the United States in comparison to these other countries. All of those things mean that companies aren't going to come here and build, not to mention we don't have the labor force whatsoever to do so.
You said there was a job shortage or an employee shortage?
There's an employee shortage. We have about 7 million people that are unemployed in the United States and around that same amount in jobs. So if we were to freaking bring companies in, they would need workers, and there are no workers. All of the workers would come from immigration, which Donald Trump is trying to get rid of.
I see. So you're saying we should bring in more immigrants, and
Sure.
we should. How would you fix the pricing then?
How do I fix the pricing for what?
Like American products. If you say tariffs not the solution, what's your solution?
You don't fix it. We are a consumer-
Why is somebody listening to this gonna?
We're a
But why is someone
consumer
listening
nation,
to you
sir.
gonna say that's yeah, but no, I'm saying, what's the alternative then? Like, let's just imagine I'm wrong and I'm a dumbass Republican. Why would anyone want to side with you saying that there's no solution? At least we're offering it.
No, you're
Like,
not.
trying.
No, you're not. You're not offering a solution at all. You're offering that'd be like me saying the solution to world hunger is for me to go into my pantry and throw ramen noodles on the ground outside my door. I mean, technically I'm offering you a solution, but it's not a very viable one.
Yeah, I mean, you could also argue, well, it's better than just not doing anything at all.
No, it's not. It's worse than not doing anything at all. Not doing anything at all allows us to be the largest consumer nation on the planet. Not doing anything at all allows people to keep more money in their pockets because prices are cheaper. Not doing anything at all still allows us to freaking pick and choose what American products that we want. It allows us to have a freaking, huge amount of trade and export that goes out of our country. It stops us from being in trade wars. It stops our other allies from making trade deals with each other and leaving us out. Okay? Not doing anything allows for all of that, for free trade around the world. Doing something hurts us. Doing nothing keeps us where we were at, which honestly wasn't that fucking bad.
Yeah, but it's not a problem to try to find a way to lower prices. Like,
But this isn't lowering prices, sir. Again, sir, you're making you're changing what you were talking about. A second ago, you were talking about, making American-made products. American-made products are more expensive. Okay? So if you're saying the idea is to make more American products, then what you're saying is I want things to be more expensive. You know what makes things makes things cheaper? Like you talked about earlier, competition. Competition. Perfect. Competition makes things cheaper. So if we have a lot of different competition from a lot of different places all around the world, then their products are incredibly cheap. Therefore, we can buy more of them.
Nah, I see what you're trying to get at. I personally was a fan of the tariffs because of the fact that we're trying to get nations to know that we're going to prioritize ourselves, and that's a big reason why I supported it. You may say the financial aspect, but I kind of thought of it that was the point. It's punishment for all or for none. So let's fix our prices.
Yeah, and you know what these countries are doing?
I liked it.
They're just making trade deals with each other and cutting us out. The EU just friggin' signed a huge trade deal with Mercosur. I forgot how you pronounce it. Right? Literally agreeing to billions and billions of dollars in trade with South America. They're literally taking the trade they were doing with us and then just buying and selling with other countries that are offering free trade. Canada made
So
it.
you're saying
Canada
It would
made a
make
huge
more
deal with
sense to
China.
sanction. Are you saying it would make more sense to sanction?
Why? If we sanction them, they're still going to do the same thing, sir. So if we sanction these companies, that gives more incentive for them to go to everyone else.
So there's been okay. So let me ask you then: why do like presidents like Biden or Obama, they were tariffing China? They were tariffing their products.
Yeah, they were tariffing certain Chinese products. Tariffs
But for
aren't
what if it has no benefit?
no tariffs, if done correctly and in a targeted manner, are a good thing, right? If you just say, "Hey, I'm targeting this product, or I'm tariffing that product, I'm tariffing this product. I want to stabilize this product in the United States," right? EVs, for example, right? Biden put a specific tariff on EVs. Why? Because we wanted to make sure that we could stabilize the electric vehicle market in the United States, because we know that that's like the future of what's coming, and we need our American manufacturing to catch up on that, right? Targeting, boom, this one. Donald Trump is targeting everything. He's targeting Q-tips. He's targeting skateboards. He's targeting brooms. He's targeting mops. He's targeting glasses. He's targeting cars. He's targeting, whatever, phones, you name it. It's all of it. Blanket tariffs just drive up prices. Targeted tariffs can help to secure American industry.
Hmm.
Donald Trump tariffed
Okay,
penguins.
interesting. Penguins.
He literally tariffed a country that does not have any people that live there. The herd of McDonald Islands are literally an island that is completely inhabited by penguins.
Wow. Well, I guess that tells you they need to pay taxes too.
Yeah, I saw those
Okay.
penguins picking some fish out of the water, and they're not gonna just get away with that.
Well, look, I just like. Okay, then you can tell me how you feel about this. What is a way that we could let countries know that we prioritize ourselves? Because that's one thing that I liked about Trump. I feel like with you guys it's like we got to focus on this international law. We got to make sure we don't step on these landmines. We're scared all the goddamn time. But I feel like at least with Trump, people felt awake and felt like we could do things and we could prioritize ourselves first. Is that a bad taboo thing? Like, what do you feel about that?
No, sir. There's a difference between prioritizing ourselves and just saying we're going to prioritize ourselves. That's the difference, okay? There is policies under the Biden administration that specifically and unequivocally helped the United States, right? Helped people, right? The Chips and Sciences Act, are you familiar?
Yeah, I've heard that term.
Okay, do you know what it is?
The only reason I know that term is because a guy I also debated with kept saying it, Joel. I didn't really look too much into it.
Okay, well, I'll give you the quick down and dirty. During COVID and when manufacturing shut down, we realized we were way too reliant on chip manufacturing from Southeast Asia. The Biden administration put tariffs on those things and subsidized a whole bunch of companies to come to the United States to build it. It built a whole bunch of jobs and helped us to isolate ourselves from chip manufacturing in other countries. So if we were ever to go through a global pandemic or something like a war or anything like that, we're making our own computer chips here and not in like Taiwan or wherever. That's about as quick as I can make it. Okay.
But what's the benefit of that when you said that if we tariff and they're having American products, maybe it's going to actually be more expensive?
Absolutely.
Then what's the point of bringing
You're
it?
100% correct. And those chips probably will be more expensive. But it is important that we have them for our national security. Right?
But yeah, but you're saying like clothes and bananas and other stuff like that, it's not useful to tariff it?
Right. Like, again, like things like bananas are a great example, right? If we don't grow enough bananas, nor do we have the ability to grow enough bananas in the United States to actually fit our need. There's no chance that we're going to, right? So if we tariff bananas from another country, those bananas are just more expensive because we have to import bananas. We have to. Excuse me. We have to, right? And yes, those chips that are manufactured in the United States are probably going to be more expensive than the chips manufactured elsewhere. That is true. But if we end up in World War III, which is looking, a lot more common every single day, right? Then we can't be worried about whether we're going to be able to get our chips from Taiwan. We have to be able to get them from here. That's important for American industry. It's important for American national security. It's good for us as a country. That is an America first policy, right? That is an America first policy. The PACT Act, made sure that our veterans got better medical care for things like Agent Orange and other chemicals that they're exposed to, burn pits and other stuff like that, right? Directly helping American veterans, people who served our country, to get better health care, right? America First policy. Okay, so Joe Biden didn't get up on the microphone every day and go, "I'm America first. I love America, and America's the best, and I love America, 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 America. I'm America first." He didn't say any of that stuff, sir. He just did it.
We're not gonna act like he could have got up on that stage anyways. Like, come on.
Yeah, he could have, sir. He did
He
literally the whole
walked
time.
down at the wrong stairwell, and he would have shook the wrong hand and looked the wrong direction.
Yeah, Donald Trump literally just did
Kamala
that like
Harris,
2 months ago.
Okay, yeah, she's sending in on.
You know, it's pretty
got enough
sad, sir,
comments,
that
you know.
that the only thing that you have on Biden is I think he was old when literally he passed significantly more America First policies than Donald Trump. So that's what you're saying. You're saying that a guy that you believe is in cognitive decline far exceeded the president that you are freaking supporting right now. Isn't that sad?
Well, I do think that I think Trump's going to get really old in office. He might actually start pulling some Biden. I'm not gonna lie.
Get every single thing you guys claimed about Biden, Donald Trump has already done in this presidency. Every single thing. Falling down the stairs, done it. Walked around the room like a Roomba, done it. Went through the wrong door, did it. Freaking wandered around on stage, did it. Everything that you guys claimed about Biden, Donald Trump has already done in this presidency, in this current one, in this year. Okay? You guys just ignore it because it's somebody that you like. Okay? Joe Biden passed the largest infrastructure bill in American history. Donald Trump is invading Venezuela and trying to invade Greenland. How is that America first, sir? How is threatening Greenland America first?
I would say, I mean, national security was for Venezuela. You can't act like Maduro wasn't a damn monster letting in all these Iranian leaders and letting all these Chinese leaders come into the Western Hemisphere. I know you know what the Monroe Doctrine is. You can't act like he wasn't doing that crap.
Yes, I do know what the Monroe Doctrine is. Do you know what the Monroe Doctrine is?
Yeah, it was to prioritize keeping non-Western hemisphere nations over here.
Kind of. That's a slightly like almost too elementary sounding understanding of the Monroe Doctrine. Okay, it was specifically to keep European colonial powers from colonizing South America. Okay,
I mean, they've already done some of that. I think you have the Falkland Islands, and you have the French have some land here, anyways. I think they need to get them out of there. But
why?
Like I said, I mean, we should prioritize having our superiority in our part of the land. What's wrong with that?
In our part of the land? What makes it our part of the land?
Western Hemisphere.
What makes the Western Hemisphere ours?
I didn't say it's ours. I said it's our
You said
part of
our
the land.
part of the land. What makes the Western Hemisphere ours?
We live here.
So do they.
Yeah, but shit, they're gonna have to do stuff our way. America first.
That's not America first, sir. There you go. He ran. That's not America first, sir. Okay, that's just imperialism with more words. But I'm sure you don't know what that is either. Yo, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really, really appreciate you guys. If you guys would like support, I do have Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. They're all at Polypolitics, like my name. All the support really does help. I really appreciate you guys. I also have super chats, super stickers, all that fun stuff. Also have my live gift goal, the little hearts that we still are still working on over here. So if you guys would like to help me complete that, I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for the hat and mustache. I really appreciate that too. B Pain said, "This is Timu Don Lemon." See, you say that like you said that as if it was gonna hurt my feelings, and it truly, truly doesn't. I'm honored. I'm honored. So thank you. I appreciate that. Freaking justice for Don Lemon. All right. Hey, Les, thank you so much for the $5. Said, what an extremely stupid about U.S. complaining about trade deficit is that digital services aren't considered. Google is moving an insane amount of money. Yeah, they only consider like manufactured products. It's really dumb. It's really stupid. But you're 100% correct. Also, most of them don't know what a trade deficit is. Okay, so that's also important. Hey, whether you like Don Lemon or not, the fact that the Trump administration is attacking him right now is sad. I'm sorry, it should be. It should be. Bankruptcy paralegal, Sleepy Joe's ex-boyfriend. Am I Sleepy Joe's ex-boyfriend? Is this going at me? I don't, it doesn't really hurt me too bad unless it's at least $10, guys. If you guys are going to talk shit on me, it has to be at least $10 for me to care. Okay? But when I see a $10 super chat, then I'll start caring. Okay? And I'll be real upset. I'll act it out for you and everything. All right? Darth Destroyer, thank you so much for the 2,500 jewels. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the bravo. That's very, very sweet. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to the next caller. Keep this thing going. Let's see if we can get this thing up. We're chasing like 75,000 followers. We're going to get there on both these platforms. So we're going to get there. So please make sure you guys are hitting the follow button, hit the subscribe button. Someone with TikTok, how do you do a super chat? You have to be on YouTube. That's how you do a super chat. But if you guys would like to support over on TikTok, best way to do it is help me to clear the live gift goals. That's really important. I really appreciate that. Or if you'd like to send through Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, they're all at Polypolitics, just like my name. So those are the best two ways to support over on TikTok. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. We're going to open up the phone lines, keep this thing going. Been following me since I had 14K. Thank you. That's awesome. Appreciate that, Josh. That's awesome. Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. How old are you?
41.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Why is that?
Well, I know there's something coming up that a lot of people don't know about, which would be the Title 4D in family court that's sneaking its way up to the White House. That has to do with child support and alimony and divorce and all that.
So Donald Trump has been president for almost a year, and the only thing you got is something that hasn't happened yet?
No, but it's definitely coming up to him in that, which a lot of people have been waiting on for a long time, and Trump is actually going to be looking at this.
This
so
sounds like
pass.
some shit like you are on your are you behind on your child support and this is going to save you or something?
No, definitely not. So with the Title 4D changes that are hopefully going to happen, they want to make things more equal because of women in the workforce compared to when these laws were made back decades ago, where the woman was at home and the man was at work. Now they're trying to make it more equal. Same thing with the alimony. So
I was right. You're behind on your child support.
No, not whatsoever. And that wouldn't make a difference anyway. Couldn't go back in time even if I was.
Is this some like red pill incel shit?
No, I really wish it was. That'd be kind of funny, but it's definitely not.
It sounds like it.
So, there's a guy. His last name is Ludwig, and he's been doing this for at least a decade now, trying to get it up to Congress, and it's finally making its way there. Trump has talked about it before many, many times, even going back to the 80s, where he said just because someone marries someone doesn't mean they're entitled to your money. So
that's literally what being married is. That's literally the entire point of being married.
It's not what it should be.
It is what it should
be. Married
is what it is.
No one's entitled to anything. You're entitled to make your own money, not entitled to someone else.
No, when you get married, that is legally saying it's y'all's money together. That's literally the entire point. If you don't like that, you should not get married.
Right, but your money together. But if I have a 401k and she does or doesn't, or vice versa, no one should be entitled to your retirement
Then
fund.
Don't get married. Then no one is, sir. Sir, if you don't get married, then literally 0 people are entitled to your 401k. You made a conscious choice to include someone into your 401k, and then you're mad when someone is included into it, sir. You made the literal conscious decision to make this happen. No one forced you. There's no law saying you have to get married. There's no any of that stuff, sir. Literally, when you sign the marriage contract, unless you get a prenup, which again is completely illegal for you to do, you can do it beforehand. Easy stuff. You could just get a prenup that says you're not entitled to anything before you get married. Like that, it's that simple.
There has been a state already that started to implement some of these changes, and it's Kentucky. Kentucky started to do 50-50 custody. And what happened to the divorce rate? It was at 40%, and it dropped to 15% within that year.
Of course it did.
So there's the proof of the pudding about money.
Yeah, that's the proof of the pudding.
Take money out of the situation.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the divorce rates plummet.
Yeah. Do you know what the
So it
divorce
kinda
rate,
shows
sir?
what-
Do you know what the divorce rate was before women were allowed to get bank accounts?
I think it was very minimal.
It was very, very low. Do you know why?
Because they didn't have the bank accounts or
Because when they were
credit
kicked out of the
cards
money, they
or-
were forced to stay in abusive relationships. Yeah. So what happens is it traps women, okay, which is exactly what these laws like you're describing do. It traps women in horrible relationships because they don't have access to the money. Because specifically in our society, right, men make more, men are considered breadwinners. When you have kids, women are the people that usually stay at home. So therefore, it allows men to control women more. So women have less of a financial ability to leave, especially when things are abusive.
if we were living in the 1960s,
Nope,
I would
that-
say you were perfectly right.
Well, the funny
That
thing is,
not
sir,
the case today
the funny
anymore.
thing is, sir,
that is not the
you
case
just
'cause women
proved,
make up
sir,
48% of the workforce.
Sir, you just proved already that it is the case, because if it's not, then it would have zero effect on the divorce rate. If it
no,
wasn't,
it actually did made a
Okay,
huge
gotcha.
because
so if women make up 48% of the workforce, okay, so therefore women are completely equal in this, right? And therefore splitting money should have no effect, right? And so you don't get any of the money, then please explain to me how it lowered the divorce rate.
it lowered the divorce rate because they knew they weren't going to get that money out of them.
Because they
That
can't
was the
get
whole
out
point.
without the money.
If they can work on their own,
Because they can't get
And
out
make money
without the
on their
fucking
own.
money, sir.
how is it that single fathers can handle everything and single women can't?
Single fathers are the most likely to leave their children. What are you talking about? Can't handle things. They
Wrong.
freaking they
You
leave
are
all the
100%
fucking time.
wrong. Single mothers have more children that create, was it 66, 65% of violent crimes? What's the men's rate for raising kids?
What's the men's
On their
rate of
own.
violent crime in the United States outside of the household?
No. Men's rate of having kids and them growing up to be violent offenders. It is way lower.
Sir, the rate of
Way
men
lower. They
raising
said a
kids
single
is way
father
lower.
is almost equal as
What are
a
you talking
nuclear
about? Where are
family
you
for
getting these?
raising
Where are
kids.
you getting this data?
Sorry, I don't have my notes on me. I could look this up.
Well, you just tell me specifically where you saw it, because that's some complete bullshit.
It is not. Single fathers and nuclear
No, sir, I don't need you to
families are
repeat it.
almost
I want you to
just
tell
the
me
same
where you
rate.
found it. I don't need you to hear you repeat it again. Let's see where this info is from. Sorry, at a certain point I have to just call bullshit. Sorry.
Academic and behavioral outcomes according to research published in the Journal of Marriage and Family 2021.
All right.
Children
Hold on, sir.
raised by
Hold on.
fathers.
Hold on. What's the name of it?
It's Journal of Marriage and Family, published in 2021, says that single fathers tend to have higher GPAs and fewer disciplinary problems.
Journal of Family and Marriage. All right, where in the Journal of Family and Marriage?
It's on the academic and behavioral outcomes. There's a few different pinpoints. It goes economic, academic.
It's funny how I just pulled this up and it specifically says while the specific articles from the Journal of Family and Marriage in 2021 on single fathers weren't highlighted in the snippets. Let's see. Let's see. Where's this at? Here, we got a little article from the National Institute of Health. This is showing when the single fathers are more depressed. But I don't see anything of what you're talking about. Let's see. Single father outcome. Single fathers compared to cohabiting fathers report poorer health as well as poorer lifestyle habits, increased health complications, psychological symptoms, hospitalizations, and higher mortality. In addition, single fathers are at increased risk of mental health problems, including mood disorders such as depression, anxiety, and substance disorder, and suicide compared to cohabiting fathers. Sorry, I'm looking all over for this, sir. I don't see it anywhere.
I'm looking at it right now.
All right, then you should be able to get me to it very easily.
There's a section that says economic stability, then academic and behavioral outcomes, and then below that, better emotional health. There's 1, 2, 3, like boom, 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 pinpoints.
Economic behavioral health? Economic and behavioral health?
It's economic stability, then academic and behavioral outcomes. Then below that is better emotional health.
All right, what volume is this in?
Let's see.
Sir, if you're in it right now, this should not be difficult for you to answer.
Do you need the actual, like, the...
Sir, you're in it. Why is this difficult? Like what journal, what page number, what any of that stuff?
Let's see.
Sir, are you not in it?
No, I'm looking at it right now. 1 second.
You're sorry. If you're in this should have been like a 2-second answer.
There we go. Paste. Okay.
He's trying to find the spot that says what he says because he can't just answer the question.
Well, I'm looking on the site right now. I'm trying to get the site and get the whole link, but it won't let me get the whole link.
All right, so here is...
It was published May 16, 2025 by a person named Lisa Drew.
Hold on, now you're changing the journal? You just said it was the Journal of Family and Marriage published 2021.
2021, and this is the person who posted multiple of the journals. 2025.
Here's a fun part of the
Lisa
journal.
Drew Ed.
Research. Whoop, I went too far. Research evidence on gender differences in single-family raised adolescents' academic performance and attainment is mixed. Some studies report that adolescents raised by single mothers were at more of an academic decline. D. Lang, Drunkers, and Welbers in 2014, and yet others indicate no difference in academic performance between adolescents living with same gender single parents. U.S.-based longitudinal evidence indicates that daughters living with highly involved single fathers performed better academically than other groups, and unmarried fathers' involvement predicts children's social development over time. Research also suggests that parental influences on academic engagement are more prominent in single mother-headed households with a female child, while relationship quality and parenting monitoring as important influence factors in addition to family income. Research also suggests that parental influences on academic engagement are more prominent in single mother-headed households with a female child.
You said academic or economic? Sorry, I couldn't hear that part.
Academic. The effect of other dimensions of single parenting, such as the nature of single parenting status on adolescent outcomes, are important. For instance, in some cultures, divorce as a separation incidence is more accepted, possibly due to higher incident rates. The general argument behind the incident acceptance explanation is in the groups with higher rates of family dissolution, parental separation is less stigmatized, and single mothers is more institutionalized living arrangement, which leads to lower psychological distress and better coping mechanisms in the face of family dissolution.
So what with the conflicting reports then? What were the conflicting studies?
I listed them.
That's what I'm saying. One study is saying that it is clear that single fathers, are better at raising
It didn't say
children.
it was clear. No. It didn't say they were better at raising children either. It specifically said that a singular study, okay, showed that the academic outcomes of children raised by single fathers was higher than other groups. Okay, but by that logic, okay, we should get rid of all families except for single father households. We should dissolve all marriages.
To be honest, I think bringing back the nuclear family would be
no. According
optimal.
to this study, bringing back the nuclear family would actually be a negative. According to that study. We should dissolve all marriages, all dual parent households, and just focus on single fathers.
To me, I still don't believe that anyway. I still think the nuclear family, a reasonable nuclear family would be better.
Just a second ago, you were super high up on academic studies saying that single fathers had better outcomes than single mothers. And then when I show you the study that says that single fathers actually had better outcomes than all other relationship types, now you want to ignore it.
Well, no, because there's multiple parts besides academics.
Oh, you mean there's multiple parts to this situation? That's crazy, sir. That's crazy. That's nuts. Do you know why? Do you know what like the number one indicator of fucking, the number one indicator of how well a child does both academically and economically in life?
I mean, have you ever heard of This Girl's Got Daddy Issues?
Have you heard of Answering My Question?
That's don't try to run away from that one.
Sir, I asked you a question and you just went to another question.
No, because we're sticking on the father or fatherless.
No, sir.
Or
the number one thing is money. It's money. It's money. If you have more money, kids tend to do better academically. They tend to do better economically. It's money. Okay? And let me also give you another cute little hint too, which is actually pretty crazy. A large majority of the people that actually, men that actually get full custody of their kids, it's usually because they're rich and they have a whole shit ton of money. Right? So that doesn't really surprise me whatsoever. But it's money. If you have more money, your kid gets into better...
little.
Sir.
You're being really, really...
Sir, that was one singular study, and there was 5 other studies that says that this isn't even correct.
How many men get full custody of their kids that are not rich, that do not have some sort of influence?
I don't know, sir. Do you know the percentage of that?
It's between, depending on what state, is 70 to 85% do not get custody.
Yeah, I didn't say how many did not get custody. I said the percentage of the people that did.
So you're talking somewhere between 15.
No, I'm not
20,
talking about anything, sir. What I'm saying is that money is the indicator of economic and academic success. Money is. Whether that's a single parent, whether that's dual parent, whether that's freaking mom, whether that's dad, whether that's anybody, it's money. Money is the indicator of academic success.
Even if you have money and you say that it's academic success, sending your kids to a certain school doesn't mean they're going to succeed there if they have shit teachers.
No, it means they're more likely to.
And with the schools these days, I don't see that happening a lot unless they're private
What are you
schools.
doing in schools?
Public schools? Public schools?
I don't think you should be within 500 feet of a school.
I have an 11-year-old daughter. I think I'm perfectly fine around children.
That's scary.
That's not, because I spent $100,000 in family court just to see her every other weekend.
Yeah, see, I knew you were behind in your child support.
No, that was court costs. That's lawyers. That has nothing to do with child support.
Yeah, sir, you are literally up here like advocating for laws that are going to work negatively in your daughter's future daughter's life in the future. I just thought I'd let you know that.
Were you brought up saying that you have to provide for someone else and not worry about yourself?
They have to
That
provide for someone else and
everything-
not worry about myself? No.
Yeah, worry about your own. Okay. So is everybody responsible for their own income, yes or no?
No, yeah, to a certain point, sure. Until you get married.
No, not to a certain point.
Yeah, up
It
until you
doesn't
get
matter.
married. Yeah.
It's your own job. Am I responsible if she went to college or not before I married her?
You are responsible whether you married
Or
someone
vice
that went to
versa?
college. You're responsible to know whether you marry someone that did or did not go to college.
How am I responsible if she did that or not?
It's easy. When you meet them, if they didn't go to college and that's a deal breaker for you, then you don't marry the person that didn't go to college.
But
Again,
marrying
you're
a
making
person
it
for
sound
money.
like this marriage
You're not
thing
marrying
isn't
a
a
person
choice.
for money.
Like you're making
Because
it,
that's why they have the common
Sir,
laws.
Sir, you're making
Because
it
if you live with someone too long, they force you
in only
into
certain
that
states.
marriage status.
Only certain states. And those common
But
laws.
even if it's certain states, and now you're downplaying it.
No, you're
You're
upplaying
downplaying.
it.
Oh well, just certain states.
How many states
So-
even have common law marriage anymore? It can't be that many.
9, I believe.
It's 9. You're trying to make the example of less than 20% of our states.
Okay, and
Sir,
those people in those
sir,
states
sir,
are still
sir.
forced into it.
Sir, and this is absolutely no offense to this whatsoever. Okay? And I'm gonna throw this out here, okay? This is absolutely no hate on this, okay? You made a bad decision on who you got married to, okay? And it happens. The divorce rate in the United States is like 50%, right? 50% of marriages are dissolved, right? So you made a bad decision. You chose someone who wasn't educated, who couldn't take care of themselves, like all that sort of stuff. You chose someone, okay, that freaking, that wasn't up to the standard that you should have chose for yourself. And sounds like she fucked you over real good. Okay? sounds like she got you
Which
real
is very common in family court.
and yeah, I'm sure it is, sir. I'm not saying
So
it's
that's
I'm
what
not
the
saying
Title
sir,
4D changing is trying to
sir, Title
do.
4D doesn't change that you make bad decisions in life. Okay? And it's not going to change for you marrying somebody else in the future and making bad decisions again. Okay, all
And
that's
you
going to
just
do
said the
is make
divorce
sure,
rate's
sir.
50%.
All that's going to
You
make
just said the
sure,
divorce rate's
sir.
50%.
All that makes sure,
So it's a
sir.
flippable coin
All
with
that
every
makes
single
sense,
woman.
sir. All that makes sure in the United States, right, is that your daughter, when she grows up, if she ends up in an abusive marriage at some point, that she's going to be stuck in it and she's going to be fucked over and she's going to be stuck in that abusive relationship just because you want to punish her for your bad decision making.
No, that's not the case at all.
It is
I'm
the case.
Teaching her to be self-reliant when she grows up, so that way, if anything were to happen, she can leave on her own accord and not worry about that.
So you think only people with money should be able to leave on their own accord if they're being abused?
I think you have to put yourself in the position that
I am.
you know
I'm putting
that
myself
you're
in the
not
position
stuck.
of an abused woman in
you're
a
not
relationship who can't leave because of laws like this.
Everybody has a choice. You can't say she can't leave or she can't walk out the door. If that's the case, then it's a lot more
Victim
abusive
blaming. That's cute.
than- no, it's not victim blaming.
That's exactly
If
what it
you
is.
can
You're blaming the
walk out
abused.
door,
You're blaming the abused victim
no, you
instead
call
of the
cops,
person that's
you
doing
have
it.
them arrested and you leave.
Oh, you call the cop, and where are you going to go with no money?
There you go. Bingo. That's my point trying to be proven.
And that's my
So,
point, sir. Where is
if a
the
person's
abused woman
abusive-
going, sir?
If a
Where,
person's
sir,
abusive,
sir,
so you're then
the father that the husband that was abusing the wife and children. Now, where are they going to go? Because now they have no money thanks to those laws.
okay. If you're saying that, how is the abuser going to be paying for said wife or vice versa husband to keep the house or live somewhere if they're in jail?
Because they probably won't end
where are
up
they
in
getting
jail.
this magical money from?
Because unless you have a recording, there's probably a really good chance they just release the guy that night.
Oh, they give out orders of protection like they're candy. You could just say you fear for your life.
Yeah, you can
and
have an
that's it.
order of
and they,
protection.
and they
Yeah.
arrest you right then and there.
Oh, they arrest you. That's not how an order
Right
for
then and there.
protection works, sir. Again, you sound like you know a lot
It
about this.
definitely
Also,
does.
is this another situation that you are that you're living?
No.
It sounds.
No. Actually, one
I
of my
revert
friends
back
is
to that
actually-
500 feet of a school, but that's nowhere near how orders of protection work.
They do. It's a 72-hour hold. They arrest you, then you're held overnight. Then
That is
you
not.
can't
I don't
go
know what
back to the
state you
house
live
for
in, but that
72 hours.
I've lived in
Illinois.
multiple states, and that is in no way the
Illinois.
case for that on any of those things.
It is. They
It's
remove you
not.
from the home. You're arrested. They put a 72-hour hold. Then before you can get back to that house in 72 hours, then you have your said restraining order or extended order of protection for at least a year.
This
And
is
you
a
can't go
bold.
back.
I just want to let everyone know out there, okay? Everyone who's listening to this, everything that he fucking just said is a bold-faced fucking lie. Okay?
No, it's not.
I'll let him say it, okay? But this is a bold-faced fucking lie. Okay? It is a bold-faced fucking lie. All right?
Okay.
Just want everyone to fucking know. Okay? You cannot call the police, ask for order of protection and they just remove someone and put them in a 72-hour hold. That is not legal that's not even fucking constitutional.
All they have to do is claim abuse.
No, that
and
is not
claim
true.
They're afraid.
Nope.
It is true.
It is not true.
Especially in Illinois.
Sir, I think I'm just going to
They
hang
have
up on
say,
you because
"Oh,
you are
he pushed me. He pushed me. There's not a mark on him, right? Because you
fuck off. I just feel bad for your daughter. Jesus fucking Christ. I just feel bad for your fucking daughter. Okay? That is some bullshit. Now I understand why the mom won custody. Now I understand why the mom won custody. I agree with the court's decision. Wholeheartedly. Yo, make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Megs, thank you so much for the gifted. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Betty, thank you so much for the husband hates wife like those cringy boomer comics. Yeah, for sure. For real, for real. Verillion, thank you so much for the $10. Said caller is definition of one of the traditional family stay-at-home mother, but won't acknowledge the work. Yep. He literally wants freaking barefoot in the kitchen women. That's all he fucking wants. Barefoot in the fucking kitchen. Crazy. B Pain, thank you so much for the $2. Said chat call him Lemon Light. Oh, sorry, sir. I told you I wasn't going to get offended unless you sent me $5. Sorry. You're not there yet. But I appreciate it. Chihuahua says I guess 100% calls his ex-wife the B word. Oh, yeah. It made much worse than that. Much worse than that. Much, much worse than that. What are you talking about? All right, Joe. I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go cook or something. I'm going to go get some food. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Normally, would be late on tomorrow for tennis, but tennis got canceled tomorrow. So I'll be on tomorrow evening. So I'll see you guys then. All right. Sounds good. Love you guys. Okay. Bye.